But remember, Jeff Bezos came out and said early on, your margin is my opportunity. And people didn't take him seriously on that. Sensor Tower data that came out was like Black Friday, 30% of shoppers used Rufus, and it ended up having a 60% higher conversion rate. Like, that was last year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's only amplified now. I think the biggest thing is the agentic commerce piece. This idea at some point in time that these LLMs or a personal shopping assistant or whatever it is, that they are going to go out and make purchases on behalf of the customer. Research will say if you're in the electronic space, you have to be advertising on Best Buy. And it looks like you're flushing money down the toilet. That's what it looks like. The reality is still millions of people do research on Best Buy and then they go on Amazon to buy it. So when you turn off Best Buy, you see sales drop in other places as a whole.
This is the Digital Shelf Insider podcast of MetricsCart. Answer engine optimization, retail media measurement, omnichannel visibility, and agentic commerce. All of these are very heavy words, and there's a lot of noise out there right now in the industry. This is the playbook. This is how you work with it. This is not the thing. And it's very hard for brands to filter out what's the right thing to do right now. Today, we're joined by Conant. He's the co-founder and chief digital strategist at BWG Connect. He's also popularly the Digital Deep Dive podcast host. He's a heavyweight in the digital commerce space, having spent over a decade advising enterprise brands on everything from Amazon growth strategies and retail media optimization to navigate the massive shift into agentic AI and conversational search. He's right at the center of where the digital shelf is heading next, and we have a ton of ground to cover today. So let's get started. Hi, Aaron. Welcome to the Digital Shelf Insider podcast. So thrilled to have you here because I guess I've been following you for a very, very long time. You bring in such great episodes all over digital commerce, and it's amazing that you're here with me today.
Oh, super excited to be here. Thanks for the invite. Yeah, excited to share this openly. You know, I talk with 20 to 30 brands a week, and I get the the privilege of kind of like consolidating all that knowledge and then resharing it out with the network. So awesome. Excited to be here.
Awesome. So I've got a mixed bag of questions. This episode doesn't have a theme in general. It's all about we dive into the retail media, then what are the challenges e-commerce brands face? What are the leaders thinking right now about AEO optimizations and stuff like that? So let's dive in. My first question for you is around you talk to a lot of brands and leaders from the space. So what is that single biggest macro anxiety or challenge that digital shelf and e-commerce leaders are bringing to you right now? What does it look like?
I think, well, it kind of goes deep. We'll start off. I think the biggest thing is the agentic commerce piece.
Yeah.
This idea at some point in time that these LLMs or a personal shopping assistant or whatever it is, that they are going to go out and make purchases on behalf of the customer.
Yeah.
And so what does it then look like? And for any of that to happen, then they're slowly breaking down, okay, well, what do I need to do internally to make sure I'm set up? And then that kind of got into one of the things that you're talking about, which is probably the second biggest right now, which is around AEO, SEO, GEO. And I just tell people, like, because if you're not getting recommended in the LLMs,
Yeah.
who cares about agentic commerce? Like,
Yeah.
no agent's ever going to go try to buy your product because you're not getting recommended within the agent, and so, or the LLM. So that is probably one of the biggest things that is out there. And the tough part is it's relatively new, and there are no real clear answers. There's best practices right now, but no single point solution. So yeah, awesome.
Yeah. To dig a little deeper, like you mentioned, there's no playbooks. Every other platform is functioning very differently. So how does the content evolve for brands in terms of thinking for humans, for agentic commerce? How does it evolve exactly?
Yeah, I mean, I think the interesting thing, there's been a couple dynamics that are going on as well, which are how people are shopping is changing. What are they doing? How much are they reading? How much are they just looking at images? So if we look at the conversion piece,
Mm.
and we also have to look at then showing up in search piece, and those things used to be almost the same because the person doing the search was like the old Google way or the old way on Amazon before LLMs. How people would search would be black coffee maker.
Yeah.
Now they're searching in a different pattern, which is longer form, which is I'm looking for a coffee maker because that fits my, modern farmhouse theme in my house.
Yeah.
It's a completely different way of searching. And so what is flipped, and if we isolate it to like an Amazon, and this was going to proliferate everywhere else, like the old way of looking at doing your content as a whole is great imagery and then keyword stuffing essentially
Yeah.
within the text. And so that was talking to the algorithm, and then you would dump everything into the text to hopefully convert the customer, whether that's lifetime warranty or whatever it is that's built into that text. Now nobody searches coffee maker with lifetime warranty.
Yeah.
Right? So what's fundamentally changed in these and search on marketplaces, we'll say,
Yeah.
is that text, people aren't reading the text. They're looking at the images to convert. And so you have to move the converting text from that nobody's really searching on, from the written text into the images. Put a logo or something, put something on the image that says lifetime warranty. So when they see it, they still get the message. It helps them convert. Everybody likes to see that. But then when you're looking at the text now, the text needs to talk to not just the algorithm, but these LLMs. And so when you think about the algorithm, that used to be keyword stuffing and keyword stuffing over and over again. But these LLMs, number one, they're not really reading the images. It takes too much energy, too much power, too much money at the end of the day to read the image. So they're looking primarily at the text. And now if you're keyword stuffing, it's seeing the same thing over and over again, and it doesn't care anymore. It sees it once, it's good. So now you have this revision of all this written text. So now you're touching all your your images, and now you're also having to touch all of your text to now talk to the LLMs. Like with a Rufus, I think that Sensor Tower data that came out was like Black Friday, 30% of shoppers used Rufus, and it ended up having a 60% higher conversion rate. Like that was last year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's only amplified now. If you look at total users, or even like a ChatGPT, total monthly queries, total daily queries, like monthly, it's over 1 billion now, I think is where it's at. So this is a new thing that people are using routinely, and they like it. So man, if you're in the content space, I think just when you thought it was slowing down a little bit, like maybe you'd optimize, it's all been turned on its head.
For sure.
And if you don't, here's one more thing is then if you don't do these things now, the LLMs, the ChatGPTs or the Claudes or whoever, they they're training right now.
Yeah.
Right? They get better every day. So they're training right now. If you're not adapting right now, you are not going to be recommended in these LLMs. And then does Agentic, and it answers the next one originally, like, then what about Agentic commerce? Well, then I guess it doesn't really matter. And so there's a mass scramble right now to try to update content. And if you're not doing it, the competition is. So, yeah. So sorry, that was kind of long-winded, but it's
But
complicated.
that's what it is. Yeah, that's what it is. And it's very, very complex. When we think for brands, so we spoke over what brands got to do and what consumers, the way the consumers are, searching how that has evolved. What are the retailers exactly doing? The Amazons and the Walmarts, have they kind of, tweaked the way the rules are on for titles, descriptions to adapt for these changes? I mean, I saw a recent update where there was an Amazon title specification changes, but how much has it evolved from the end so the brands can make these changes?
Yeah, I think Amazon's always, I'd say, A/B testing. At the end of the day, they want to make sure that they're putting the product the customer is most likely to buy, not always the best possible product, but
Yeah.
the product the customer is most likely to buy in front of them, um, and then help convert them as quickly as possible. So those tweaks are going on, but largely it's on the brands at this point in time, right? I mean, you think about from the Amazon standpoint, whether they buy your brand of kitchen spatula or another brand of kitchen spatula, Amazon doesn't care as long as they're the one that sells you the kitchen spatula. They're still making money off. It's the next one up. So it's the survival of the fittest, which Amazon has pretty much always been. And then you have people who game the system, and then Amazon steps in to try to correct it. And that's happened slowly. I guess one of the most recent ones, right, was with the ratings and reviews. Used to everything, if you had variated ASINs, all of those reviews would be like aggregated into one big review count.
Yeah.
And now it's split out by ASIN, all the variations have the appropriate one. So which I understand why they did it. There's a lot of people scrambling on that front, but I guess my point is like Amazon, the tweaks they're going to make around requirements to text or images or bullet points or product descriptions or titles is only meant to enhance them showing up better and them related the products that they want you to buy and them being at the top of the list. So what does that look like? Well, from my standpoint, when I think about it, any updates they make in that space are such that when an LLM outside of their Rufus is looking and grabbing data, they're the one most likely to show up at the top as a recommendation for a product. So those are the tweaks that I believe that they would make to make sure they stay at the top, as people still shop by far online. So yeah.
All right. Before we get back into the conversation, I just want to take a moment to talk about something that can really elevate the way you manage your e-commerce channels. If you're in the consumer goods or durable space, listen up. You already know that staying ahead in the digital marketplace is crucial, whether you're a retailer, brand, or agency. But how do you get the most accurate insights in real time? How do you keep track of competitor price activity, consumer trends, and constant changes in product visibility? That's where MetricsCart comes in. MetricsCart is a marketplace intelligence platform designed specifically for e-commerce teams like yours. It gives you a holistic, data-driven view of your performance across all digital shelves. Whether it's price monitoring, competitive analysis, or understanding trends before they become a wave, MetricsCart has you covered. I've seen firsthand how this kind of intelligence takes brands from just surviving to thriving. If you're managing products in the consumer goods or durable space, it's a game changer. Check them out, and I promise you, your e-commerce game won't be the same. Now let's get back to the show. I have a question on the omni-channel side. So there's a growing sentiment in the industry that, chasing broad blanket omni-channel visibility can actually dilute margins. You often discuss the value of, strategic channel management. So how should brands really balance being everywhere with maximizing SKU-level profitability?
Oh, I think you nailed it. I think brands largely, and I'm not talking about the startup digitally native brands. I'm talking about the consumer brands that most of us know and use and we find in retail already. I was part of this when I was on the brand side. Was Amazon e-commerce omnichannel was largely relegated to the corner, right? The crazy people in the corner trying something new, and Amazon has started to take off. And that was even up right till COVID hit. So then COVID hits, and there's this mass scramble to get online. And what ended up happening was a lot of these companies just started to try just dumping all their products online. They were amazed, right? It used to be, if you're going to get on shelf at a retailer, like it's a long process. And then at the end of it, you're trying to convince them, the buyer, that your product on that shelf space is going to make more than the current incumbent on that shelf space, either, higher volume, obviously more money at the end of the day, more margin, whatever it might be. So a lot of these companies then jumped all into Amazon, and they're filling out these awarded forms, and Amazon's taking everything. And everyone's like, woohoo, look, we sold in everything. Then they quickly find out that and I start with Amazon, but then obviously it trickles over to every other marketplace that's out there, is that not everything is profitable, especially with the take rates they have.
Yeah.
And people are shocked, but remember Jeff Bezos came out and said early on, your margin is my opportunity. And people didn't take him seriously on that. And that leads us to where we're at now is people are finally taking a step back and they're saying, okay, what is the SKU by SKU profitability as a whole? And that's what you have to go through. Now, just because that SKU isn't profitable, the next level people are saying, okay, but how can I make this profitable? Which then is it a kit? Is it a bundle? Is it a 2? Is it a 3-pack? Is there co-marketing that can be done? And then the next level is, because all this stuff is everywhere and can be sold anywhere, obviously brand protection and all that other stuff comes in huge. But what if I have different ASINs, different SKUs, different kits, different bundles, marketplace by marketplace? And then you get this true omni-channel approach, which isn't totally crazy to think. People use different count sizes all the time, right? To differentiate between a Walmart and a Target. Well, why not do the same thing online? And so that's this evolution. But I think everybody's looking at profitability right now. I mean, you mentioned it too, right? Like, that's how do we make this profitable? The only way is by doing a unit SKU by SKU profitability analysis, and then being willing to shut that SKU off if it's not making money.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I think maybe 2 years ago, we would have heard that, there were brand managers who would use a copy paste approach, like say whatever PDP they have on Amazon, they will try it on Walmart and they try to work. Does that happen anymore now? How is it?
I'm totally shocked that it does.
Oh no.
I laugh about this because you do a lot in the Walmart marketplace. Everybody,
Yeah.
it's really weird, right? You go back, everybody's, Walmart is a giant behemoth and is struggling. Everybody's butting heads, and now everybody wants, a competitor, a true one to Amazon. So they're kind of rooting for Walmart.com. And
Yeah.
that lag is, people will spend time, effort, money at a large scale to optimize everything for Amazon,
Yeah.
right? And then they're like, we've got it optimized. And then they jump over to Walmart and they copy and paste. And they're like, yeah, Walmart.com, the marketplace, it doesn't work for us. I'm like, how much did you optimize for it? Did you spend as much time and effort and money as you did on optimizing for Amazon? They're like, no way, it's not worth it. Well, chicken or the egg here, right? Like,
Yeah.
are you sure it's not worth it? And they're like, well, we don't want to do that until we see results. And I'm like, well, maybe you don't see results until you actually do that. And that's what we see. That's what we see a lot of, which then leads to the next part is like these Walmart partners that are now popping up that are exclusively focused on that piece of it. How do you get up going? How does everything get optimized? We're having more and more of those pop up. But yeah, you can't just copy and paste.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe if you're a small mom and pop shop, right? You're doing $500,000 a year on Amazon. You're making, a kitchen utensil.
Yeah.
Like, it's a lifestyle. It's great. But if you're a large organization, you just can't do it. You can't do it. So,
Yeah. Makes so much of sense because you spoke about SKU by SKU analysis. So I had to ask you this question, like, where is that? Like, have brands stop doing that because it cannot work. Just cannot work.
yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. We cannot, have this episode without talking about retail media. Retail media measurements are still very confusing for brands, and we're seeing RMNs move up funnel into CTV and even bridge into in-store digital signage. So, how should digital leaders shift their budgets and measurement frameworks to account for this?
Oh, wow. So what I'm going to set aside is the impact of AI and the LLMs on retail media, because search, a lot of that is fed in on the digital side by search. and feeding it, and it's just going to fundamentally change with the LLMs. And agentic shopping, and doesn't matter if a person isn't there, if it's an agent doing it. So that piece I'm going to totally set aside, and we're going to focus on the here and now,
Yeah.
rather than what's coming. But anybody who's listening, just keep your eye on that ball, because it's going to drastically change over the next, probably in 12 to 18 months, we're going to see a big shift. These LLMs have to make money somehow outside of
Yeah.
subscriptions. And so the retail media piece is probably the most hard nut to crack.
Yeah.
And that is because everybody's struggling to understand, where do I spend the next dollar,
Yeah.
in incrementality and cross channel. And we've gotten to this point now where it used to be, the 7 touch points, in marketing before somebody buys. Now that's well over 40. And it's because people, when we talked about omnichannel everywhere, not only are people shopping everywhere, but they're consuming and researching everywhere.
Exactly.
And so it's fundamentally changed in how we look at it, and then also the complexity of these systems and how they interact. Because we saw that there's did a podcast with a lady, Megan Caroon from Clear Data. I don't know if you know Megan. If not, I will connect you.
I
She's the
did have
perfect
a
person.
yeah, I did have her on the episode, like when retail media was very, very new, maybe like last year, sometime in Jan, and yeah, it was good.
Oh,
Very deep.
she's amazing, right?
She's
She's
good,
amazing.
yes.
She's the only one that I found to truly break it down.
Yeah.
And this is the thing, is you can't do this on your own. And most likely your agency is not going to do it well. Your agency is biased, and
Yes.
most people don't have a single agency that manages everything and has your best intentions. Usually people have a chunk here and a chunk there.
Yeah.
And so what she is able to do is step in and do that analysis. Now, it's not cheap, right? At the end of the day, it's so hard. It can't be. You're plugging in all these different things. What people don't realize is, like, a lot of research will say, if you're in the electronic space, you have to be advertising on Best Buy. And it looks like you're flushing money down the toilet. That's what it looks like. The reality is, still millions of people do research on Best Buy, and then they go on Amazon to buy it. So when you turn off Best Buy, you see sales drop in other places as a whole. That is so complex. There's a lot of brands, like I'm talking huge brands, that are, say, their data science team. And if you're at a large brand, your data science team is saying, oh, we can do this. They can't. They can't. And then they also have all these agencies who are saying they can do it. Just trust us. Like, no, you're not grading your own homework.
Yeah.
So from the retail media side, you have to be able to bring in a tool like a Clear Data. That's the only thing that I found, especially at scale, to look at all the different paid search, social, retail media networks. Because we all know all these RMNs are asking for more and more money every year, right? And I don't blame them. But what I hear all the time is, from the large, even like the CPG space, is I just want somebody to be able to prove that when I give you $1, you're giving me money back.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's okay if it's just $1 back. Sometimes it's okay if it's 50 cents back. Obviously they want more, but sometimes it's okay to lose a little bit to make more money back. I was, like I say, like a Best Buy or something. So yeah, if you just want that knowledge.
Yeah, yeah. I
But
mean, I like the fact that you share that, if you are a consumer electronics brand and then you have an ad running up on Best Buy, you stop at the sales drop. Like, that's a simple analogy, but it really matters. Like, for brands, it's so important that, they look into these
yeah,
aspects
yeah, it all cross pollinates. People are shopping and researching and consuming data everywhere.
everywhere. It's not
And
switching
so
off.
no, no, not at all.
Yeah.
What else is top of mind for you? This is fun. This is fun.
Totally fun. Uh, so a big part of your mission at BWG Connect is helping companies connect with partners and platform selection. So the digital shelf tech stack, which is the PIM and the syndication tools and analytics platforms, can get incredibly crowded and confusing for brands to choose from. So, what are the kind of common mistakes you see brands make when selecting their digital shelf tech stacks? Because it's like infrastructure, it's like the basic thing that you need to have right.
Um, actually, it's not talking to enough people. So
Got it.
this network that I kicked off 9 years ago now,
Yeah.
um, and it's still around because I was on the brand side and I'd been, trying to find an Amazon agency. I'd been burned on a web dev firm and an integrator, and at that point, I was doing a lot of Google searches, right? Or way back in the day, maybe you go to an IRCE or you try to find somebody. And um, what I found was I just wanted to talk to other brands.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk to people about their experiences. So it is in this digital shelf tech stack space, but it's also on the space of, well, what does a real TikTok agency look like and who's working, who's not, or an Amazon agency, or who can handle Amazon returns, or how do I drop ship? Like there's all these things that the best way to find that, right, is by just talking to people, right? Which I know from the tech stack side, people go, I find some like people on the tech side or they're newer, they don't necessarily like that. But the reality is, if you're a really good business and you're doing really good things, you have a lot of good people out there that want to tell your story and how good you are. And so part of what I love to do is I'm talking, like I was saying, with 20 to 30 brands a week and just saying, like, hey, who's working great for you? Who do you love? What are your pain points? Who's helped you solve the old ones? And then I can run this network where, I can just put that information out through either, my podcast, the deep dive, or the webinars we do. We'll do 100 to 150, or we'll do 80 to 90 small format dinners.
Yeah.
It's all about just being able to, once we found those great partners, just help them out and get their story out. Um, and that's kind of how we built this. It's like all free for the brand side. I just built something I wanted on the brand side.
Yeah.
So
That's
the
very
number one
cool.
thing is just build your network and talk to people. Right? Everybody in this digital space, we've all jumped into something that a lot of people were uncomfortable with.
Yeah.
So I people should never feel like they're asking a stupid question,
Yeah.
because there was no any question you answer in the digital space or ask in the digital space, the answer wasn't there 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So, we're not talking about, simple mathematics or something like that, where we've always known the square root of 4. Like
Yeah.
we're asking things like you're saying, like, how do you measure retail media?
Yeah.
That's a legitimate question.
Yeah.
And the only way you find out that brands aren't doing it on their own, they need a tech stack partner, is by talking to people. And so, and
100%.
that's how we get connected with great people like you, right?
Oh,
Is
yes.
brands saying it.
Likewise. Likewise. I mean, I would completely agree with whatever you shared because it's the same for me. I mean, I used to ask a lot of these questions to all the great leaders in the space on LinkedIn messages, and I used to get all the responses I need. And I'm like, okay, maybe this could be a conversation. Why am I just having it on this chat? A lot of people can listen to it and, learn something from it. So it's nice that way.
Yeah, I know. Like even on, like that's what I love. It's like
Yeah.
we could easily just you and I had this conversation, and
Yeah.
you didn't have to hit record on it. And then at the end of it, we would be like, "Shoot, we should have hit record and just shared it
Exactly.
with everybody." But that's where like, yeah, I just
Right.
love it. I love people and I love
Same.
e-commerce and
Yeah.
connecting them. And I don't know why, but I do. I started off as a chemist by myself at the back of a lab, and
Yeah.
then here we are chatting.
Yes.
What else is top of mind? Anything else?
I have a last question for you before we
Okay.
wind up this episode. So, how can e-commerce leaders separate actual needle moving AI capabilities from the shiny object AI marketing fluff when evaluating, vendors, software vendors? Because there's a lot of
Oh,
AI powered being stitched into marketing when we look into apps currently.
oh, wow. Yeah, that's a tough one because we're at the front end of it,
Yeah.
and 95% of it is garbage. 5% of it is really good, but we don't know what 95 and 5% is right now because it's so new.
Yeah.
What I'm a huge advocate for is having what I would call an AI R&D budget. And a lot of that, I mean, just coming from way back in the day when I was a chemist, from an R&D standpoint, there's time and there's money set aside, and organizations know within R&D, most of what happens with those experimentations doesn't work out. But if you do enough of those experimentations over time, you finally get the golden nugget that actually does work. And so that is the only real way to do it outside of whatever networking group, thought leadership, share groups that you're a part of, so you can bounce ideas off from. But right now, the interesting thing with AI and these tools are, if you miss it, you don't miss it by, the normal, what would be a normal 6 months. You miss it by a year to 2 years.
Right. Yeah.
Because everything in that space is moving that fast.
Yeah.
And so, again, the share groups, but have that R&D budget set aside and let your team play around with it. Now, what does that mean for large organizations? Your CIO, your CSO, they have to be involved, because if you're plugging tools into the network, they're going to want to know. And I don't know if they set up a sandbox or whatever for you to play around in, but you have to have that budget. And that includes not just tools, but other things. I've seen like agencies pop up. So if you don't know how to enhance Reddit, which these LLMs go to, right? Retailer.com, brand.com, then Reddit. Well, how do I experiment with Reddit to see if it has an impact on how I'm showing up in LLMs, unless I've got a set aside amount of money to go try it out for 3 to 6 months? Maybe it doesn't work. My guess is it probably does. A chat GPT agency, right? You don't always have to be the one that's doing it and doing all the experimentations or trying all the new tech. There might be a smaller agency out there that's already doing it, and they can help. Right now, we see a lot of coaching going on. And so maybe there's an AI agency. I think we'll see those pop up outside of just your normal agency. But at the end of the day, some kind of R&D budget that allows people to go in your organization to go out and try these new tools, because you can't miss it. Yeah. So that's what I would do.
Yeah.
If I was a chief digital officer somewhere. And hiring these thought forward people. That's huge.
Yes.
That's huge. You can't have people who are afraid to use it.
Yeah.
That's it.
So much of sense. Thank you so much, Aaron, for taking out the time today. It was such a wonderful conversation with you. I kind of bugged you with all sorts of questions. It's from different areas. It was just fun.
You took my whole day, all these individual questions from brands, and you consolidated it all into like a half an hour. Let's go. It's so much fun. Well, thank you for having me on. So much fun. Look forward to doing it again.
Yes.